Welcome to Scorched Earth and a general reading for the sign of Scorpio, Sun, Moon or Ascendant for the month of July. I hope you're well. Can scarce believe it's July. Where has this year gone? It's just disappeared. It's absolutely mad. What do I have to tell you? Just not very much really. There will be an extended at the end of this if the reading resonates. There'll be a link down in the description. You can follow that and that'll take you to Vimeo and that'll be all good. Mercury retrograde. It's finished. Thank God. If any of you have followed me on Instagram, you know I've had my fair share of travel disruption recently, but there's also been all sorts of technological mishaps that have been going on in the background as well, which has been quite tiresome. But it's back in forward motion now, although we are still in the shadow period, so be aware that at least until I think it's July the 9th that will still be kind of winding down a little bit. I think we have other things in retrograde. We have Saturn in retrograde, we have Pluto in retrograde, and I'm pretty sure that do I want to say Jupiter or Neptune? I can't remember. One of the two of those is going into retrograde as well, so just be aware there's a lot of shit going on in the heavens at the moment and you will pick it up. So anyway, I should probably go and bone up on the astrology a little bit more. I will do that for next time. Let's have a look at you anyway. Let's get 3 cards for Scorpio, please. It's the Tower in your recent past. Okay, we kind of expected that, right? With the way things have been at the moment. I don't think it's a bad thing at all. And it is your recent past, so don't be worrying that shit's gonna hit the fan or anything. It's done that already. Current energy for Scorpio, please. Oh, okay. It was the Magician drifted out beautifully there. And what's coming towards Scorpio? Wow. We've got the 5 of Pentacles. But interestingly, we also have the 6 of Pentacles that's fallen out to the side. I'm actually just going to put that off in the corner and make reference to it, because although they didn't jump out together, they both exited the deck. And we've got a continuation there. We've got a 5 to the 6. At the bottom of the deck, we have the Ace of Pentacles, and I think that this is important, the way that these are all kind of sitting in together, followed by the King of Pentacles and the Justice card. Ooh. Let's get some clarifiers. I'm using the World Unknown to clarify. That's the one that wanted to come out, so let's see what it has to say. Tell me about the Tower, please, for Scorpio. Lots to say today. We have the Magician and we have the Page of Wands. I love this. I love this for you, Scorpio. Tell me about the Magician, please. I've actually just got hella fucking goosebumps. When I get goosebumps when I'm doing readings, they start at my ankles and they literally roll up my entire body before coming up my back and down my arms. It's really uncomfortable. We've got a shitload of cards that have come out for you here in your present. I'm going to take these 3 because these were the ones that fell onto the table. These ones fell onto the floor. But we do have the 3 of Cups and the 2 of Pentacles there. Just make reference to them. But here we have the Page of Cups, we have Death, and we have Strength. Scorpio, you never fail to show up in your own reading, and you've done it twice here. I like this. I like this very much. Tell me about the 5 of Pentacles, please. This is gluts of cards coming out everywhere. Oh. We have the Mother of Pentacles, which is the Queen. We also have the 6 of Cups, which is a Scorpio card. We have the 10 of Wands, and we have the Ace of Wands 2. Now we have the Sun at the bottom of the deck. It's the card of Leo. Wow, there's so much going on here, Scorpio. Oh, I got fucking goosebumps again. Oh, stop it. We've got the 8 of Cups underneath that, and we've got the Hanged Man in reverse beneath that. Piscean energy. Now let's start here, because we are here, right? The Sun is the most positive card in the deck. The Sun is what you want to see after a storm, and that's usually, you know, what the Tower is for most people, you know, including Scorpios as well. It's some element of a storm. whether it is something in your material environment that has blown up, or what is usually the case with me when I have a huge tower moment, it's usually my mind just putting something together, and suddenly my entire perception of the world has changed. I can't see things the same way that I did before because of that perception shift, right? And literally to an outside view, like nothing's happened. I've been doing the washing up, or I've been, I don't know, cleaning dog crap up out of the yard or something like that, and I'll just be like, oh. And then from that point on, like my brain is trying to catch up with this connection that it's made, and everything is new. It's bringing things out into the sunlight. You know? When the storm abates and everything settles down, the sun comes out. It makes what has been that tower moment seem a little bit like a distant memory. You know, the rain, the thunder, the lightning, you know. This is where you're going, Scorpio, because there's something really profound that you are leaving behind in this period here. And it's not the thing itself, it's your emotional reaction to the thing. And that is more profound, I think, than actually physically moving away from something. The fact that we've got the Hangman in reverse, I really, really like, because I think that for a lot of Scorpios, you've been quite withdrawn. You've been in that place of contemplation. It could be that you found people quite difficult to be around at the moment. I was talking to a Scorpio a few weeks ago, and she was recounting all of the things that she'd been thinking about of late, and said she had to go and sit in the garden because she was too intense for herself. and I thought that was absolutely beautiful. But this is what this is, right? That intensity that you've been experiencing recently, there has been gold in there. There is magic in there. And Scorpio, I think you've got to a point now where you've put everything in the right place. You understand it. All of the intensity has had a purpose, and now the way is, I think, starting to clear for you. So let's not skip past the fact that you've got two aces in this reading. We've got the Ace of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. It can be to do with a house move, it can be to do with a new job, a promotion, a new opportunity to improve your life in the 3D in some sort of way. But given that I feel that Pentacles are energetic currency, right? It's what you give, it's what you receive, it's what you invest. This feels to me like Scorpio working out where they want to put their energy. You know, moving forwards. What seeds they want to plant. And taking a long view on it. Now, Scorpio does do that anyway. I think it's one of the underrated characteristics of Scorpio is that you can be endlessly patient with situations. You do tend to play the long game with stuff. It's not about instant gratification for you. And I think that that's a characteristic that often gets given to earth signs and ignored in Scorpio. But you do have that within you. And I think that this month, particularly, you're working out where you want to put your seed. You're working out where there is value in you playing a longer game here. And we've got the Justice card. Now, the Justice card can talk about balance, it can talk about equilibrium, and we have other cards on the table that also refer to that same thing. But it is a big card of karma too, which is to say consequences. And I think that what we've got here is an understanding of cycles that you have repeated. We talk about this endlessly, right? And certainly from childhood, and we're going to be talking about that some more as well, so, you know, put a pin in that. But it feels like such a strong and resolute statement against repetition of previous cycles, of previous patterns here. This is like, I'm taking this new seed, this new way to invest my energy, and I'm going to go in a different direction to the one that I have been going in. And it's almost like, you know, you might have been ping-ponging from situation to situation, potentially for decades, but And this has been coming out for almost all of the signs this month. Trying to write a new story involves a new script, right? Where is it that you are bringing the old script to the table and being all like, oh, here's a new situation, let me try and, you know, put words in the mouths of all of the characters who are showing up in this. And it's like, no, actually, these people aren't the same people. You are not the same person. Your reactions are not the same. Your emotions are not the same. You know, where there is this residue that has been left behind. It's like you're investing in a new set of consequences. I have a video in the recommended section of the channel by a friend of mine who breaks down what karma is, and he does it in such an exquisite way. I messaged him and said, please can I use your video on my channel, because it's exceptional. And if you want to go and have a look, just go and have a look. Because it's not, it's kind of value neutral. That's the point. It's not like you're a bad person, so you get bad karma. It's just that everything has consequences. And for good or for bad, for well or for ill, every experience that you've had, every action that you have taken has its consequence somewhere else. And it seems like you're taking a longer view, looking at the consequences of everything and being like, this is what I want in future. I'm going to shut this window now. The cauldron's burnt down because it does my fucking noggin in, is the absolute truth, right? So let us move to the cards that are actually on the table now. We have the Tower in your recent past. Now this is the card of Scorpio, and everybody goes, oh, you know, but I think that your Tower has all been occurring in here, and I think it's been occurring in here. And I see the Tower as course correction. It isn't always about fucking your life over, although sometimes it can absolutely feel like that. It is about often subtle shifts in thinking. It's so subtle that you couldn't even necessarily nail down exactly what it is that has shifted, but like I was saying before, everything is now different. Nothing quite looks the same. You know, the realization that there's been an old script at play can be quite, it can be quite challenging. And I think that the energy that you've been in recently, Scorpio, has been challenging. You know, have you been a bit too intense for yourself? Possibly. But as the Tower has fallen, what I'm getting a real sense of here is that you found the gold. You know, whether that is the materials that the Tower was built from, you know, that you can take and use elsewhere for something, you know, more useful, or whether you realize that that Tower is actually just obscuring your vision. You know, whatever it is, it's come down. And with the Magician and the Page of Wands, what we see here is that there's a realization that you can affect change, that you can be the change that you want to see in yourself. The Magician has got his paw on the pentacle. You know, we see all of the elements are depicted there, but he's got his paw on the pentacle, which is the thing that's shown up here for you, this Ace of Pentacles. And with the Page of Wands being there, which is a precursor to movement rather than movement itself, as far as I can see, right? It's about the excitement, you know, it's about the willingness to engage, the willingness to live. It feels like a slow dawning realization of all of the important things. You can do this. You have all of the tools at your disposal. Your intensity is a gift, but sometimes it can feel a bit like a curse. Your past experiences are a gift, even if it pains you to think of them. There is such wisdom contained within you, Scorpio. I'm just trying to tune into what I'm feeling here, and there's a whole maelstrom of emotions here, Scorpio. There's a feeling of relief, which is interesting. There's relief that you are not quite as fixed as you thought you were. that there is a mutable element to you. There is something that can be moved and shifted, and it can come specifically from you. It doesn't need to come from an external source. There's sadness here too. But there is acceptance. And I think that that's the important thing. I think that's the most important thing, because this is the thing that you've fought against hitherto. Now, in your current environment, we go from the magician being a clarifying in the past to a magician being right here and now what your energy is. You have all the tools that you need. You have everything that you need at your disposal. You are powerful. You are limited only by the bounds of your own imagination. And I think that those limits are being slowly removed from you, Scorpio. I can see the Eight of Swords as I'm talking to you here, and the visual is you pulling these swords out, and maybe you're moving some of them a little bit further out, but some of them you're just pulling out of the ground and throwing to the floor. It feels like you are seeing yourself for the first time, Scorpio, rather than looking at the damage that has been wrought by other people upon you and the resulting behaviours that came from that. It feels like you're looking at yourself and you're appreciating yourself for the incredible spirit that you are. You know, the survival instinct is always really, really strong in Scorpios. But surviving isn't living. And I think that you've worked the difference out between the two now, because the push seems to be towards the living, the new experience, the proper experience, the fullest experience that you can have. And where, you know, the damage that came from other people was something that you were acutely aware of. Each one of those swords that was in the ground around you, that's what I see in my mind anyway. You know, you didn't put those swords there. You didn't put yourself there. And you've always kind of been aware of that damage. And it's like, well, yes, I had a very shitty childhood. I probably was abused as a kid in all sorts of ways. Certainly wasn't nurtured. Certainly wasn't loved. Certainly was left with no doubt from childhood that if I wanted to proceed, my survival instinct was about just making do, not trusting people because people are not trustworthy. You know, maybe you see how much of that you've kind of projected out of yourself. You know, I'm not saying that you should go out and immediately trust all people, because frankly there are a lot of people out there who aren't to be trusted. But I think that there are specifically particular relationships that you can look back on now and kind of see how the lack of trust from you maybe started cracks in a tower in the past. But there's a wider lesson going on here, you know. Always say to my fighters at the gym, like, you learn more from a loss than a win. And you win, it's great, but that makes you complacent. And Scorpio is never complacent. In fact, almost to a fault, you are not complacent. That mind whirring away all of the time, trying to predict outcomes. That's, you know, it's a trauma response. When you're always looking for ways in which you can be ambushed, and you've got this, you know, enormous web of potential consequences of not just your actions but other people's. We're always trying to be like 15 steps ahead of anyone. And like Scorpio, this is something that I used to do as well. And I've got an 8th house stellium, so I'm assuming that that's the reason why I used to do it. When you are continually doing that, it's just life. That's just what it is to be alive for you. But it's so energetically expensive. We spoke about this before. And it's astonishing. It was astonishing to me that people didn't live like that. I always saw things coming and other people didn't. And I was like, well, how did you not see that coming? You know, because obviously I just thought furiously about what would happen if this happened and then I did this and then they did this. But what happens if I did something else? What if they did something a bit unexpected and went in like this? Then how would I respond to that? You know, like, I was very rarely caught off guard with anything because I'd already thought about every single fucking iteration of of behaviour that I could come up against and my own reactions to it too. But it's tiring. It's so tiring, Scorpio. And it's so disappointing as well. Like, I actually think it just fills you with a sense of disappointment because you can see things, how things are going to go down months before they do. And then it happens. And what happens then is that it reaffirms that your subconscious responses to the world, the energetic ones, energetically expensive ones, are the right ones. And I don't think that's true now. I don't. Because what I understood about that reaction when I was having it was that not only was it a response to early trauma, but it's also, it comes from a place of feeling so disempowered in your past. Right? It comes from a place of people that you don't expect fucking you over. When you're really small and you're supposed to be protected and nurtured and all these kind of things, this weird shit coming out of left field and you're like 6, 7, 8, 9 years old and you're like, whoa, 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 what the fuck? Shit, okay, I can't trust anyone. I can't even trust my own fucking parents. I can't trust my siblings. I can't trust my aunts, my uncles, you know, whatever it is. And so as you grow, as you become an adult, it's almost like your subconscious goes, I will never, ever be put in that situation again because it hurts too much, right? The emotions run too fucking deep for me to expose myself to that again. And so we limit the ways in which people can access us to that sort of degree. We limit the ways in which the capacity for surprise exists because no, I've seen all of that coming. It's all done. I know exactly how this is going to play out, and so as a result, I am not going to give much of myself to this situation. Now, the question that you've got to ask yourself is, how far did your refusal to allow people in, to allow yourself into people, brought about that situation? How far was it your own projections? You know, like Scorpio, I think that these are things that you've been rolling around in your head for a while anyway. But what we're seeing here is a very subtle but very strong undercurrent of a shift in your relationship to power. I said, like, Pluto is in retrograde at the moment. Okay? And the retrograde motions of the planets are all about going back and checking everything. Right? We've just come out of Mercury retrograde, but like I said, we've got Saturn in retrograde as well. And the whole point of Saturn in retrograde is, did you do the right thing? Did you always do the right thing? What could you have done better? What could you have done differently? It's all about putting in the work in, for sure. But it's also about making sure that the work is going in the right direction. It's about making sure that the energy is flowing in the right direction. And was that not exactly what we were talking about right here with this Ace of Pentacles? Because I think for a lot of you, the energy was going in the wrong direction. Maybe the energy was burning your own fucking brain cells out, trying to predict the future in 50,000 different iterations of it, with all the variables taken into account. And what does that leave? There's nothing left over for you. There's no nurturing for you. There's no caring for you. There's no you allowing other people to care for you and nurture you, you know? These are all themes that I feel have been very, very present in the Scorpio experience in the last few weeks, particularly. But through it all, like it feels like an incredible sifting out of the shit, Scorpio. It's an incredible overhaul in the ways that you expend your energy. So obviously we've got you releasing things that you've held on to too tightly, things that you didn't want to let go. They're kind of going by the wayside. It's kind of looking at it and going, right, I have a basket of pentacles, which is my energy. It's like spoon theory, right? Here is my spoons. Here are my spoons. Here are my pentacles. Everything that I do costs a varying amount, right? You're like, what have I got left at the end of the day? And as you were before, you were on minus spoons. You've been borrowing spoons against, tomorrow for a very, very long time. And it's like, can't carry on. It stops here. And I think that this feeling of withdrawal that you've had, where you've kind of pulled within yourself, it's because there's been this knowledge of this evolution that's been going on for you here, Scorpio. It's knowing that this is running very fucking deep, and to a degree, this is rebuilding you from the ground up. This is taking you not from that point of 6, 7, 8, 9 years old where you were already jaded, where you were already seeing the darker side of life at an age where you really should not have been exposed to it. But it's taking you a little bit further back, 2, 3, 4, 5, when things were just simpler, where expending energy was just simpler things. And bringing your adult self to bear to now understand that you can choose where you spend your energy. We have the Page of Cups here, and I love that for you. We have the Death card, and we have Strength. The Page of Cups there is about forgiveness and acceptance. It's about compassion. And I don't think any of these things need to go anywhere but into you. An ex of mine once said that they'd never met someone so starved of care as me before. And I think, as a sign, that could be very well applied to you too. Absolutely starved of care, of nurturing, of protection even. A sign that is denigrated hard by other people who do not understand what you have been through. They do not understand that you are living on your survival instinct, or have been at least. They have absolutely no idea of the strength that exists within you. And although you've accepted the strength that exists within you, I think it's a fucking massive disappointment every time you have to call away. But what's shifting and changing for you now is the way that you see yourself, and there's a purer way that you see yourself now, Scorpio. Yes, you've made mistakes. Yes, you've fucked up. Show me somebody on the planet who hasn't. I won't believe you, because everybody's done it at some point, right? But the point is not to focus on the mistakes. It's to focus on what you learned from the mistakes. And so if you've made a lot of fucking mistakes, well then good. You've got a lot of fucking wisdom to draw upon, Said this before about this card. It's got an ugly duckling feeling about it. This duckling who's kind of swimming about on the water with all the other signs, and it is so different. On every single conceivable level, you just built differently to the rest of the ducks. And they see it, and they point it out to you, and you see it, and you're acutely defensive about it. Have been. And what's happening here is that you're starting to see yourself as you actually really are, which was never really a fucking duckling anyway. You're You are a swan. Did that not come out for you in a reading that I did recently in the last couple of months? I'm sure it is. Where everything has been black as pitch within you in places. It feels like it was just the level that your eyes were set at, and now you're trying to go bigger and you're looking down and you're like, actually, do you know what, shit, there's all sorts of colour in there, there's all sorts of beauty in there, there's all sorts of fucking wisdom in there. And because I am Scorpio, because I can evolve, because I have this incredible power of manifestation, whether it is in, you know, external, and actually Scorpio is pretty fucking good at manifesting things towards you, right? Or whether it is more importantly internal, and that's the thing that you've always struggled with, right? Yes, you're strong, right? Scorpio is like a fucking fortress. You ain't getting in here. Like, I've built these walls really, really well. But the tower's come down. Because this lighter energy is really flowing through you at the moment. It's like you've been a channel. It's like you've been able to stand outside of yourself for just a moment and look in. And what you have seen has filled your heart. Like I said, there's this feeling of relief. There's also a great feeling of sadness. But there is a feeling of acceptance. The old stuff can only hurt you if you allow it. The old stuff can only hurt you if you are continually exercising that emotional, you know, kind of like, fuck, reaction to stuff. There's a huge transformation going on in you, Scorpio, and if people don't see it, then more fool them. Because I think it's starting to show on the outside now. You're stepping into something really, really powerful, Scorpio. Not just you, not just your identity, but something bigger than that. This Leo card here speaks to me about spiritual growth. And look at you powering up to the fucking nth degree here, Scorpio. You've always said that what you fix in yourself, you fix in the collective, and are we not experiencing the rise of the shadow? I think 2020 was all about that, but I think 2021 is starting to see just the consequences of that, and the work that you are doing here, you are doing for the collective too, and maybe you are processing stuff for the collective as well. Maybe that's why you're so intense. Maybe that's why you're too intense even for yourself, because this isn't just your energy that you're taking on here. There is a shadowy energy of a lot of people, of countries, of the planet as a fucking whole, working its way through you at the moment. And if you, as Scorpio, can release all of these things, if you can release the traumas, if you can release the reactions, if you can retrain your subconscious to be something lighter and brighter, it gives hope to everyone. Because I feel you elevating really, really strongly, Scorpio. I really do. I feel you pulling those things that are in the dark out into the light. For the sun to shine on, for the sun to disinfect. What's coming towards you in July is the Five of Pentacles. Now, the Five of Pentacles is a card of poverty. It's a card of lack. Or it's a card of a fear of those things. And I think rather than this coming towards you, like, I don't think it's going to be like, a, you know, you're just going to lose your job and have no money or anything like that. It feels like it's the assessment of that, you know. So Scorpio are known for holding on to things, right? Holding grudges, keeping that, the absolute knowledge of the ways in which they have been done wrong. Right here. Well, actually right here. Front and foremost all the time, right? It's always been about the evasion of allowing anything like that to happen again, right? We're just going to circle around stuff, navigate around, you know, we don't want to head on hit something that touches those deep emotions. It feels to me like it's you looking at the ways that you have failed to meet your own basic needs, right, up until this point. And it's all part of the same process. I mean, we're just looking at different aspects of the same process that is ongoing at the moment. But it's coming out here with the Six of Pentacles, which says to me that as well as you assessing where it is that you're putting your energy, as well as, you know, this maybe it's a decision, a conscious decision, to stop trying to work 15 steps ahead, because you know that you are strong, because you know that you are powerful. You're actually really starting to see now the ways in which you are powerful. It doesn't matter what other people are doing. It doesn't matter at all. If anybody's planning on ambushing you, because you're every bit as strong as you need to be to weather the storm. You know this. So where you have not met your own basic needs, you're bringing balance to that now. You're understanding actually that probably moderation is a better way forwards in a lot of things. Yes, it's useful to be able to predict people's behaviour, stuff like that. But as a way of defending yourself, as a way of guarding yourself against new people or old people or situations or whatever, it's not necessary. It's energetically expensive. And do you know what? Like, one of the situations that you've come up with, one of the types of behaviour will be the right one, right? It will. Because you always get the answer before it happens. But think about all of the energy that you expended on the 49,999 other variables and outcomes and consequences that you didn't need to. Because when the need to protect yourself above all is gone, because you understand that you are strong, and because you understand that you can weather any storm, and because you have processed and worked through the very, very painful lessons of childhood, you realise you don't need to. You don't need to spend that energy doing that thing. You just don't. It's a total change in perspective. You have all the wisdom in you now, Scorpio. And it feels like a switch from the head to the heart for you. That heart that's been so walled up, so protected, so guarded, and all the furious energy going on here, tiring you out, making you weary. It feels like you're starting to move from a heart place now, Scorpio, and first and foremost towards yourself. In terms of the way that you see yourself. In terms of the way, you know, you realise that you're not a fucking duckling at all. You are different. You are a swan. So of course you look different. Ducklings are really, really pretty. Cygnets, a little less so. Your early experiences battered you, Scorpio. So you was going to look a little bit tufty, a little bit, you know, at odds with yourself, a little bit out of proportion, a little bit, you know. Not quite as tidy and comfortable as the ducklings look. But you're growing into something so much bigger and so much more powerful. as a result of those experiences. And what we've got here, Mother of Pentacles, Six of Cups, Ten of Wands, Ace of Wands. There are a couple of different ways of looking at this, and it specifically revolves around this card here. So this is the Queen of Pentacles, Mother of Pentacles. It's a Capricorn card. But all of the queens are mothers, you know. And what we could be looking at here are issues with your own mother. And given the way that your emotional trauma runs very deep, it would be quite easy to assume that for a lot of you, it was very, very difficult relationships with your mother that started you down this road here, right? The wounding is so deep, it's so close, that there's usually a mother involved in there somewhere, whether it is, you know, a narcissistic mother, or even the loss of a mother, you know, the neglect by a mother. We can see it occurring in lots and lots of different ways. But how the relationship between your mother and you has led to you carrying this burden, expending energy in ways that you have not needed to, that you should never have had to, frankly. But it's there nonetheless. The other way of looking at this is that this is a card of the self for me, right? It's one of the cards of the self, but this one is about nurturing, taking care of yourself, self-care. It is about knowing that you deserve love. You deserve to be nurtured. And in the absence of a childhood that was filled with a parent doing that for you, it falls to you, Scorpio, to do it for yourself. Now, this is revelatory stuff, because I haven't yet met a Scorpio who, certainly up until the last year or so, I've never met a Scorpio like themselves. And it's heartbreaking to see, because they take a very logical, no bullshit kind of approach to themselves. Well, this is who I am, this and this, you know. I don't have anything else to give. And it's not because you walled it off, Scorpio. It's not like you're jealously hoarding your own emotions. You know, I know you don't get to have any of them, which is often, I think, how other signs perceive you. It's because you've taken quite a logical look at yourself and gone, well, I've suffered this much abuse throughout my entire life. Clearly, I'm not really worth much as a human being, but I do know that these things about me, people like, and this thing I like about me, people like. Right? I've spoken before about a Scorpio ex who literally completely believed that the only thing that he had to give to the world was sex. It's like anything else about himself was not valued at all. And it wasn't in an arrogant, ego, male way. There's probably a little bit of that in there. It was a genuine, well, look, like, this is the only thing that people value about me. So therefore it's the only thing that's valuable about me. Not true. Not true at all. The ways in which you have failed to meet your own basic needs, Scorpio, starts with the most basic of things, which is seeing yourself as who you are. Realizing that there is more to you than what you had thought was the thing that was valuable about you. Nurturing yourself, right? Starting to work on the wound, starting to repair yourself, starting to give to yourself all of that love that you have been so starved of your entire life, that care that you have been so starved of your entire life. It could be reparenting yourself, you know, inner child work for sure. Because to complete this process, you are going to have to talk to that child that is scared and confused within you. The one that is terrified of things going wrong, things terrified of being fucked over by adults again. Make friends with them and take the responsibility away from them. to you, the adult. Because your past runs very, very deep, Scorpio. I mean, it feels to me like this month is a breakthrough for you, right? This is the storm clouds finally starting to part. It is you truly understanding the burden that has been put upon your soul since you got here, and working through whatever that brings up for you. Because the 10 is all about completion. It's coming to an end, Scorpio. You are being fucking reborn, and it's messy, and it's challenging, but you're so very nearly there, because we have the Ace of Wands. It feels like you could see it as being given a second chance, but I don't know, that doesn't really sit well with me. Because it would suggest that the way that you've done things was wrong up until this point, and it's not. Like, what you have to understand about yourself is that you have suffered more from such a young age than anybody should ever have to fucking suffer. Like, it fucking breaks my heart that this is true of Scorpios. But within that, the lessons that are contained within that are what give you the incredible wisdom and get you, and at this point as a Scorpio in 2021, allow you to break the fucking cycle. Generational karma is huge in this one for sure, but what you fix in yourself, you fix in the collective, whether that is your personal collective in front of you, your children, and your generational line, or whether it is something much, much bigger than that. And I think Scorpio, I think both apply. Because whether or not you're being given a second chance at life, and I don't like that. I don't like that. You can see the value in living differently, and you want it. You really, really want it. And it's coming. The storm clouds are so close to breaking now. You know, the water's receding, the rain drying up. It feels like you're bursting straight through the fucking middle of this, Scorpio. What's that quote from Lawrence van der Post I'm always throwing out and butchering every single time? I should find out where I wrote it down and fucking put it on my wall here. It's a testament to the human spirit that as low as a human can go, they can also, there's an equal and exact kind of, I fucking murder it every single time. I have to find it and I'll put it in the description box. The depths to which a human can sink are sort of like equal to the heights that the human spirit can soar. It feels like that to me here, Scorpio. It feels like you are breaking free of all conditioning. It feels like you are seeing yourself properly for the first time. It feels like you are understanding your own power, and it's not what you thought it was. This is the thing. It's so much more than you thought it was. And it's time for you to start wielding it. And by the look of the cards that are here, August will be a very different month for you, I think. It's not much longer now, Scorpio. Keep pushing through. Right, I'm going to leave it here. If this has resonated with you, like I said at the beginning, you can come and join me over on Vimeo for the extended. The link is down in the description. But if not, that's all good. I will see you on Monday for the weekly reads. They come out every Monday. But other than that, if nobody's told you today, Scorpio, I'm really proud of what you're doing. And I see it. I see how hard it is. And it's incredible. And know that I love you very, very much. And I will see you soon.